Good evening and welcome to live coverage of the RWB International Constructors Championship. I'm Rob Lomas and once again I am back for another season of commentary. Currently watching qualifying at the moment, looking at one of the lovely Audi R8 LMS Evos. Just heading down the pit straight, heading through turn 1 and hard on the brakes into turn 2. Excuse me one sec. So I just have to quickly sort some technical stuff out as I can actually hear my own voice back, which is a little bit unnerving, to say the least. So I do apologise for that. So we're currently still looking at Damien Lowe's car at the moment. Currently sitting in the pits in P12. I can give you a quick rundown through the field. It's currently Radek Schuller fastest on a 1 minute 40.1 exactly. Then we have Sebastian Erdmann in second and Marco Badowski in third. Crawford Brown is currently in fourth place with Ian Mackey in fifth. Nathaniel Shirley is running in sixth with Nigel Wood in seventh. And if this lets me scroll down, which it won't. So unfortunately I only have access to the top 7 for now. And I've lost pictures, I think. Oh no, I haven't. I'm still there. I have still looking at Damien Lowe's car at the moment. Sorry, do bear with me a sec. I can confirm that just around in P12 at the moment is Eddie Warden with Chris Brook in 13th. Peter Varga is in 15th. Damien Lowe's in 14th. And then we got Dave Crew in 16th, and then followed by Todor Kostadinov, Patrick Nemcovski, and Jakub Tarantino. So now we're currently looking at Terry Agoris in the Porsche, the 911 GT3R. Technically the 991.2, as the 992 still isn't in the game yet, hasn't raced. I say it has raced in real life in the Rolex 24 earlier this year, but it hasn't raced in SRO competition yet. So we can see it's Radek Schuller on pole from Sebastian Erdmann. Then it's Marco Badowski, Crawford Brown, Ian Mackey, Nathaniel Shirley, Terry Agoris, Nigel Wood, Tom Shipston, and Philip Hahn rounding out the top 10. So that is good. We can see actually. We can actually go down to 20th place here. So we've got Eddie Warden in 11th. Then we've got Mizjewski in 12th. Chris Brook in 13th. Damien Lowe in 14th. Peter Varga in 15th. Crew in 16th. Todor Kostadinov in 17th. Patrick Nemcovski in 18th. Jakub Tarantino in 19th. And Kurt Hodgson rounding out the top 20 as we have but a few seconds to go here at Kyalami. Field pull away now. Excuse me 1 sec, I've just realised I need to do something. Go. And the field come out of the final corner now. Heading down towards the pit straight. And the lights go green now. It's a good, clean start so far. No repeat of the shenanigans at Silverstone. Still looking at Agoras there, heading. They all head down through turn 1, hard onto brakes into turn 2. Is everyone going to get around cleanly? Oh, just about, I think. So there's a couple of little light tubs by the looks of things, which is to be expected on the opening lap of the race as they won't come out of turn 3 and back onto the old Grand Prix circuit through Sunset Bend, if I remember correctly. Fantastically quick corner in a GT3 core, then hard on the brakes for Clubhouse. Now heading towards the downhill run through the S's. It's a BMW right there with Agoras as well. And now it's on the run up to Learcop. 101 BMW going up the inside there to go into 8th place. And now it is the run down through the mine shaft and up towards Crocodiles for the first time in this 70-minute race. Very nasty curb on the inside of this little kink coming up here. If you don't want to take too much of that curb, as you will end up in the wall 9 times out of 10. And through the final turn now, running a little bit wide there, I think is the 31 Porsche. And do excuse me one moment once again. I think we'll be looking at the Porsche for a little bit longer. Just having a 1 or 2 slight moments with the auto direct, in the sense that I'm clicking it and I'm still waiting. Oh joy. But either way, it's been a good, clean start to the race so far, which is definitely an improvement over what happened at Silverstone. I can certainly say that much. There's a very big accident in the early stages of the first race, where there's a very much concertina effect type. We've got kind of a 96 with the fastest lap of the race of 1 minute 40.905, and it's a 70-minute race, so I should add there's going to be 2 pit stops, both of which you have to take fuel. Now, in order for it to count, you can simply just take 1 litre of fuel if you think you've got the fuel economy to be able to theoretically go the entire way without stopping. So it might come down to a case of tyres here at Kyalami, so this could be very, very interesting indeed. Heading down through the S's once more and up the hill towards Learcop. Of course, Kyalami for many years, home of the South African Formula 1 Grand Prix. Although not on this particular layout. There's a little bit of contact there between the NSX and the Porsche. Porsche getting forced out wide, and that lets two of the McLarens through, and Lexus as well. So I'm wondering if Agoris might have damage, and he's coming into the pits now. The pit window has opened. The pit window is 1 hour long, so the drivers have 1 hour to take both of their fuel stops. Not looking good for the Porsche team. There's already a Lexus in the pits as well. Other than that, it's an empty pit lane. There's another car coming in the background. There's Lexus leaving, and I think that's one of the Bentleys. Just coming to a stop there. There is the Porsche with Terry's almost iconic fluorescent wheels, wing mirrors and wing end plates, and also with a good bit of clean track in front of him. So heading through turn 1, Crowthorne, up through Yuksky Swip, and now into Barbecue Bend. All corner names which hark back to the old original Kyle Army circuit. Although back in those days, Yuksky Swip was a properly fearsome corner. It's a near flat out if you're brave enough, and very quick left-hander, which led into Sunset Bend at almost top speed. So in a 1980s Grand Prix car, that would have been phenomenally quick. Heading through the S's once more now, and up the hill towards Lercop. Used to be known as Wesbank back in the day. By that I of course mean the late 1980s, when they redeveloped the circuit. That kick there. This didn't used to be so tight. This used to be a lot faster. Continental corner, much more sweeping, and then it was a very fast left-hander at Awa, which led to NTN corner, which was also pretty quick, and then led into Panasonic, the final turn, which meant that Sunset Bend would have been turn 1 on that configuration of circuit. For many years, they did used to have a chicane at the kink just before the final corner as well, which was very clumsy looking, very high curves, and not particularly popular, especially with the bike riders as well, because it was really tight and nasty on them on the superbikes when the World Superbikes came to visit. So yeah, Kyle Army these days enjoying a bit of a renaissance of sorts. We've got the Intercontinental GT Challenge here. We've got continued talks of it even maybe returning to the Formula 1 calendar. There was talks that it was actually supposed to replace Spa for this year, which would have been quite something. But alas, it didn't come to fruition, and the Belgian Grand Prix got a bit of a reprieve. Still, the GT drivers absolutely love the challenge here. It's got all the modern amount of runoff area you need and the modern facilities, but it does still have quite an old school feel to it as well, and that's what I think the top GT drivers quite likes about this place. Absolutely brilliant track. Heading down the pit straight once more. See, up into 5th gear. Yeah, maybe not quite 6th. Down through the box into 1st gear in the Porsche. Can maybe take that in 2nd in a car with more torque, such as the Mercedes, for example. But really, in the Porsche with its rev-hungry flat 6 engine revving to over 9,000 RPM, you're going to want to, make the most of the fact the torque is much higher up the rev range. and therefore maybe use a lower gear than perhaps some other teams would. Of course, there's quite a lot of big stops here that leads on to fairly long straights, which does suit the Porsche, excuse me, quite well, I'd say. Although there's one thing I've noticed driving around here is that in a mid-engine car here at Learcop, you almost just let the car rotate naturally on its own. It's just something I found, although that might well be down to my complete lack of skill. To be fair. So, yeah, that is looking very tidy indeed from Terry Agoris. Set his personal best last time around, and he's on for an even better lap this time. Might even get under 42. Oh, not quite. 42.055 in the Porsche. Down in 25th place at the moment is the Porsche. Still watching the Porsche, car number 31, heading up the hill now to Learcop once again. Of course, the track used to turn the other way here. It used to turn right instead of left, which led to the climb, still going up the hill and towards the pit straight. It's a long downhill drop in towards turn 1. As it would have been back in those days. Excuse me. And yeah, the old Kyle Army was a truly fast circuit. It was, well, the pole time for the last Grand Prix there was 1 minute 2. And given the rate of development between 85 and 86, there is every chance that they could have actually been either knocking on the door of or gone under 60 seconds, which would have been the end from a sporting perspective, because there's a little known thing in the FIA sporting regs that a lap time in a Grand Prix car has to be over a minute. They made an exception a few years ago when they ran the short circuit in Bahrain, the perimeter circuit. Although that was very much global pandemic, force majeure induced, which is why I think they did that. So yeah, so that was why, well, one of the reasons why they had to rebuild Kyalami, and also because they could sell the land on that northern part of the circuit off to get some extra money as well. And the redeveloped circuit still has all of the charm and character as the old one did, only with more modern facilities. In fact, it's kind of fitting we're actually still looking at the Porsche of Terry Agoris, as he's now up into 22nd place, because the circuit was actually brought about 5, 6, 7 years ago now by a businessman called Toby Venter, who is the owner of Porsche South Africa. And the amount of money which he has invested into the facilities is clearly paying off. The reason why there's a concrete barrier and a little bit of extra tarmac there is because that's actually the going to be the national circuit pits, whereas the main pits are going to be used for the big international stuff, and like the Grand Prix if that ever happens, and the IGTC as well. But that was also where the pits were back for a few years back in the late 80s into the early 90s, when I said that Sunset Corner was turn 1, which is quite a ballsy opening corner, to be honest, because it's not exactly slow. Yeah, heading down towards the Crocodiles once more. Due to the width of the track, it's actually quite hard to try and find your braking marker there as well. We're still with the Porsche going through the kink, very nicely done. Just overtaking a McLaren, I see. And heading into the final corner now. Been an incident involving car number 9 somewhere. And car number 23. Which car number 23 is, I know for fact, is Chris Brook. And car number 9, if I scroll down, is Philip Hahn. So that has happened somewhere on track. So the reason why we're still looking at the Porsche, very lovely car as it is that the auto director, I think, has frozen. So I do apologise for that. We are working to get it fixed. But in the meantime, we'll carry on admiring the Porsche, chasing down one of the Lamborghinis I see. It might be hotty if the livery from previous seasons is anything to go by. The black and blue Lamborghini. In fact, I don't know if I can check. Oh, I don't think so, but we are still going here. 3/4 of an hour left on the pit window. Of course, the benefit of this is that there's a real element of strategy involved. Do you take both your pit stops early on, get some clean air and start punching out the lap times, or do you decide to actually hold off a bit, let everyone else go first, and then pit quickly later on? Or do you kind of mix it up and have a slightly more even strategy, so pitting every 23 and a bit minutes or so? From memory, if I've done the maths correctly. I mean, I should add, I probably haven't. I do have 2 degrees in sports journalism now, and sports journalists aren't renowned for doing maths. Like, we can add up in multiples of 3. So you kind of have to for the football timetable, league tables rather. Sorry, but yeah, the rest of it, maybe not so much. Meanwhile, Agoras has just got past the Lamborghini, so that moves Terry up into P19. Through the Yuck Sky Swip once more, for the 12th time, in fact, during this race. And I have been joined in the commentary box by one Mr. Forza R18. Good evening, or I think morning still in your case.
Oh, afternoon, actually.
Yeah. Oh, it's been a long day.
Yeah, which is funny because it's only barely beginning of the day for me, so yeah. Sort of ish. Well, at least we have a nice view of this Porsche. Well, slightly Lightning McQueen-esque Porsche.
There's been an update. That was indeed Harry Hottie in the Lamborghini, who Terry Agoras just overtook. I can confirm, so he is now up into showing us being in P18, just behind Tom Shipston, Nathaniel Shirley, Maddow, Tarantovic, Eugenie, Teratino, Varga, and then Todor Kostadinov in P10.
Is there a yellow out somewhere? Oh no, it's green again.
It might just be because someone's run a little bit off the track.
Yeah, we're all good.
Yeah.
Green again. And now it's dark. Suddenly.
Yes, the race started fairly late, actually. So I can see why the teams are quite confident on tyres, given that it's not going to be too warm on track.
The yellow
Another
again.
yellow there. There's a car off at the S's. Car number 23, which is, if I have a look through my notes, the Honda NSX of Chris Brook, who has gone off, maybe had a bit of a spin. And Brook still showing as 11. Oh, sorry.
That looks like there was battle for position up ahead of this Porsche.
Yeah.
I think it was a Lamborghini and... Just trying to guess off the taillights now, really. Let's see. That might have been a BMW, actually. Nope, I was wrong. It was a McLaren and a Lexus.
Yep. The Porsche now back up into P15. Another brief yellow. There's a big old schmozzle there at turn 1. There's a couple of Lexuses and a McLaren. This is car number 25.
The aforementioned McLaren I was mentioning. Oh dear.
So car number 25 is Shirley, car number 4 is Mad Owl. So I can only presume they've had a bit of a coming together at turn 1. And Tom Shipston in the other Lexus had to really back out of it, and so did the 31 Porsche Terry Agoris for that matter. By the looks of things. Seems the more I spend looking at the auto director, it's the less likely it is to show stuff, so I have to keep refreshing it, unfortunately. So we'll quickly refresh that again, as it's now really dark, properly dark here at Kyle Army. And we are currently looking at the race leader, Radek Schuller.
I think you've managed to get it to work.
I didn't. I can confirm that's Nate's.
Fair enough. It is now working though. That's a very nice livery on that Acura.
Yeah, very patriotic livery as well, in the colours of the Czech flag for Radek Schuller. It's Radek, one of the absolute quickest drivers. He was some of the times he actually set in practice were, I mean, they were quite a bit quicker, as in under 1 minute 40. So yeah, phenomenally fast driver.
I mean,
he heads up towards the set. Yeah.
NSXs do tend to go quite well around Kyalami if the IGTC results or anything go by.
Yeah, very, very quick indeed. And you're right, in IGTC trim, the works car of Farnbacher, Dane Cameron and Bertrand Baguette, as it was at the time, were phenomenally quick, if just quite unlucky as well. So yeah, those were fun times.
Porsche.
The 31 Porsche back in. for pit stop number 2.
Bit of a dive by the McLaren.
Yeah, that from that angle it did look a bit sketchy going around the outside at the mine shaft. But on the plus side, it does mean you have the inside for crocodiles, and given how wide the track is there, there's quite a few different lines you can take. So I don't think it will be looked at by the stewards. I think it's fair to say.
No harm, no foul. I don't think there was any contact. It's a bit brave to try and out-muscle a Bentley, though.
Yeah. It was Bentley, which is about the size and has the aerodynamics of my parents' house. Yeah, it's not the smallest car in the world.
It's a Bentley. It's an stately manner. Is what it is.
Oh yes. Actually, no. It won't be the size of my parents' house. It'll be the size of the old manor house just up the hill from my parents' house.
There you go.
Yes, that's the. I do apologise to my good friend who might know someone who lives there. The Right Honourable, etc., etc. As Philip Hahn is in the pits in the BMW. Just having a quick look through here. There's Jakob Tarantino in the Lamborghini with the Ferrari of Nigel Wood just behind him. Heading. BMW staying out of the way though. I don't know if that's just come out of the pits or not. I think it has actually. That might be Hahn having just exited the pits. As it shows, yeah, Wood's gone up to 18th and Tarantino's up to 17th, so that's sorted out. Next car up the road is Damien Lowe in the Audi. As Erzman comes into the pits from 4th. There's Tarantovic in the 73 Lamborghini, currently in 20th place. And now we're back with this little battle here between Tarantino, Wood and Hahn. Ooh, maybe a little bit too much curb there from Wood through the S's. The Ferrari, you can't really attack the curbs quite as much as you would with, say, a front-engined car. Meanwhile, Crew has not given up on trying to get back past Ian Begg in the Bentley. Of course, these two cars, very different philosophies and everything. One relies on big torquey engine, lots of grunt, lots of straight line speed, whereas the other relies on being tiny, live, nimble, and has phenomenal brakes as well, actually, apparently, that McLaren. So yeah, both making their lap time in very different ways, and this is why we have balance of performance.
Looks like he's gonna try and get a run here.
I think it's quite close. Might have a look. We'll come back to that in a sec. We're back on board with the Porsche of Terry Agoris.
It's a shame there's not any sponsors on this Porsche. It might just meet all the quotas for screen time.
Yeah, heading through the S's now. Wood's still right on the back of Tarantino.
All over the curb.
Yeah. Wood having a little look up the inside into Learcorp. Tarantino giving him plenty of room. Just the thing with these mid-engine cars is you can actually almost let the car self-rotate through the second part of the corner as it starts going down the hill. Use the camber to really help you rotate the corner. Tarantino's not giving up though. Would have to make him look at the long way round Crocodiles. Through the kink now and heading into Ingwe, and Tarantino is taking a completely different line there because he's heading into the pits.
Very, very brave line coming into the pits, yes.
Absolutely, yes. Also the sort of pit lane where I'd imagine you could do a David Coulthard Adelaide's 1995. Not to be recommended, as Radek Schuller has come into the pits, which means that this might be the highest placed Honda / Acura of Erdmann. There's Kostadinov, and Tarantino's got a stop and go 30 for speeding in the pit lane.
Ooh. That's not part of the plan.
Yeah, the standard stop and go 30 for speeding. Drive through is usually for track limits. And either way, you don't want them because they're gonna completely screw your race up.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
No, back with the Lamborghini. And now it is pure darkness here. We're on board with the McLaren, the number 4 McLaren. Running in 18th at the moment.
Yeah, Mad Al involved in that incident earlier on, which no doubt will be looked at by the stewards.
Well, I mean, he is called Mad Al.
And he is also one of the committee of stewards. Yes, I actually attended a few of the stewards meetings last year, which was great fun. Found really quite interesting as well, to be able to watch and see just all the processes that go on behind the scenes. And if anything, it's a damn sight harder than commentating.
Well, hopefully you were invited and not summoned to the stewards.
Well, the first time I think I ended up in a steward's briefing, I was actually on the bus back to the hotel I was staying at in Malta, and I'd had a few beers.
You might have been summoned. Yeah.
Yes. Called to the bar in a different sense of the word.
There's almost a segue, because you're riding on board with the Jägermeister BMW.
Yes, the iconic Jägermeister livery of Todor Kostadinov. Currently keeping pace with Eddie Warden. And Eddie is blooming quick as well, so although he is driving the GTR, so yeah, not the most popular car in game, not the circuit that suits it the best, I'd go so far as to say. Whereas the BMW is, well, officially it's front-engined, although what the GT3 manufacturers are doing a lot more these days is and is pushing the engine as far back as possible and as low down as possible. I think Corvette, in fact, were the first to start that trend with the C6 GT1 back in the day in the American Le Mans series.
Well, if that BMW engine placement is anything like the M8 GTE car, then it's basically in the footwell.
Yeah. the M8, which I actually read about in race car engineering, that actually it was pretty last minute what they had to do with that car to try and get it sorted, because everyone else had some took one look at the original concept and went nah. So they had to make quite a lot of changes quite late on in the process, from what I read. So yeah.
Now we're riding on along with the very nice yellow Ferrari. Slightly JMW-esque Ferrari.
Yes, the legendary team run by Jim McWhirter, regulars in the European Le Mans series. There's crew, I believe, in the McLaren. Sorry.
Crew? Is he still chasing after the same Bentley?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
That Bentley may have pitted.
See, I think you're right, actually. I can't see him. Actually, Begg's down to 23rd.
So he must have pitted.
So, yeah.
I assume mostly everyone has done their first stop by now. Surely.
Yeah. Still 22 minutes left on the pit window, though. So there is still plenty of time for those who are going to try and leave it quite late. We're gonna try and go for the maximise running, get into a good rhythm, and try and leave the car as light as possible at the end.
You'd have to be your best Richard Westbrook impression there with your fuzzy pink bunny slippers. You want to go that far?
Yeah.
Or just bring out a Ford GT, either one. Now on board with the number 12 Mercedes. And as soon as I say that, we switch to the NSX, okay.
Still looking at Sebastian Erdmann in the NSX. Going just as well as they did in real life here, with the V6 twin turbocharged machine, which was run by the Semi-Works JAS Motorsport team in real life, Italian team who actually built all of the NSX GT3s for Honda/Acura in America.
You say Semi-Works is more like it was a Works team, but yes.
It was a Works team, but officially it didn't have Honda at the front of it. So that's how they were able to get away with entering it in, entering themselves in the IGTC. Yeah, very, very well-known team. Also built the Honda Accord Super Tourers, if I remember correctly, back in the, what's that, late 1990s? Raced by the likes of Tom Christensen and I think Tarquini as well in British touring cars.
Don't forget, still in charge of building all the Honda TCR cars.
Yes, indeed they are, and indeed they've got their work cut out big time because there's a brand new Honda TCR car, the new FL5 Civic Type R, which appears to have a steering wheel modelled from a GT3 car. Talk about sign of the times.
Funny how that works.
Yes. Meanwhile, there's Todor Kostadinov in the Jägermeister BMW. It's not quite a Group 5 320, but M4 GT3, it'll do. There's back to Sebastian Erdmann, who's now been about half a second of Marco Badowski. There's Peter Varga in the highest placed Mercedes so far. And indeed the only Mercedes in the top 23, from what I can make out.
Yeah, you would be correct.
Yes, which is not what I was expecting, to be honest. It does speak volumes, though, about just how competitive this is when going through the top 10. It's Ferrari, Honda, Porsche, Audi, Honda, Nissan, Mercedes, Lexus, BMW. So cracking variety there at the front of the field.
Give a shout out to the Nissan here for being the only Nissan well inside the top 10.
The only Nissan well inside the top 20, I think.
I think it might be the only Nissan actually in the race, no?
I can have a quick look. You are indeed correct. It is the only Nissan in the field tonight.
Well, there you go.
So,
More impressive.
Yeah, Eddie Warden with his work cut out big time this evening, trying to be the entire two-driver team. Of course, the rules for the Constructors' Championship states that for every gold driver you have in the car, you have to have a bronze-graded driver. And Eddie is a gold-rated driver. There's also some very quick silver drivers as well in the field. Ian Mackey, who is racing tonight. There's Max Hayes as well. And you've got the likes of Tom Shipston, Tarantino, Damien Vilk, Sebastian. Well, Erdmann's actually a silver graded driver. And then you've got
under the pits.
Yep, and then the gold graded drivers like Marco Badowski, Adam Kajowski, who's not racing tonight in the Bentley, and co. So just to keep things even and to even up the teams a bit after the infamous KTM Honda combination in the season we had a few years back, which saw Radek Schuller, Crawford Brown, Eddie Warden, all in the same team, and then Jack Mason, I think, was the fourth driver in that team as well. And it ended up being in the GT4 section of the season, a KTM 1, 2, 3 in just about every race. You didn't quite know what order they were gonna be in. Same for the GT3 part with the Honda, so that's why the rules been put in place to try and even up the driving talent to a degree. No, it was incredibly fun to watch the KTM team just absolutely destroy the field in the way they did. There's Philip Hahn. Tarantino still showing as being in the pits, for a stop-and-go penalty. So I wonder if he's had a more serious issue. It's also showing as being +8 laps at the moment, which leads me to believe that he has indeed actually had some kind of incident, or maybe mechanical off somewhere, or maybe even just a technical fault. Unfortunately, still look at Philip Hahn in the BMW M Guillain-Barré liveried M4, the trademark M stripes on the car. Now all we need is one Mr. Andy Blackmore to try and work those stripes around the yellow of the Turner Motorsport car in GTD Pro in IMSA. Or maybe is that a challenge too far?
Don't need BMW M stripes, you got Turner stripes.
Exactly, true, yeah. The tacos as well. That's, anyone who's not watched the...
Victory
too right. Turner Motorsport now actually raced in, actually came to Spa last year with the M4 GT3. Were pretty competitive in their class from memory, and are one of the top teams out in America, in fact, for with BMW. So there is every chance that, yeah, who knows, maybe sneak another factory driver or two in for some of the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds, or maybe even the Indianapolis 8 Hour. If BMW want to get a top local team involved, then I'm pretty sure Will Turner will be saying yes straight away if the phone rings from BMW Motorsport. So Ian Mackey and Eddie Warden just come into the pits for their pit stops.
Now on board with Mad Al and the former McLaren.
Yep, Mad Al currently down in P23 at the moment. So what, 6.5 seconds behind Ian Begg, but has 24.8 seconds over Jack Mason in the Mercedes in 24th place. Mason has completed both his pit stops as well. Varga, I should add, still has to pit, as does Harry Hottie, Chris Brook, Kurt Hodgson, Mijewski, Eddie Warden, Tom Shipston, Ian Mackey, Marco Badowski and Radek Schuller all do still have to make their final pit stops in the next, 12 minutes or so before the pit window closes. Can't believe there's less than 20 minutes left of this race already. We're on board with Dave Crew. Big spit of flame out the back of the McLaren. Great wad of unburnt fuel just gets dumped into the exhausts and then ignited. Always looks cool, to be honest. As does watching cars racing at night in conditions like these. Of course, conditions similar to what we'll be seeing in the real-life IGTC at Spa later this year. Conditions similar to what we saw at Bathurst just the other weekend at the beginning of the 12 hours.
We're forgetting about Kyalami, I think, at the end of this month as well.
Yes, indeed. Sorry, you are right. Don't forget the Kyalami 9 hours is also coming car off just at the exit for Kink. I can only presume too much curb on inside, and round she goes. To put it mildly, the vicious little curb there on the inside. McLaren really sparking out, coming through at the bottom of the S's. The big old compression there, and there's, if anything, there's actually an even bigger compression down at the bottom of the mineshaft. Coming on board with Nathaniel Shirley in the Lexus. Has a look up the inside, and that's a position held, I think, because that's Varga in the Mercedes with the blue lit up aerial.
I
don't think that's...
you might be right. Yes, I think that's.
I don't think that was for position though. Because it's still showing Shirley as being in P9, Varga being in P10. Meanwhile, there's Erdmann, and meanwhile, I've just noticed Crawford Brown is still yet to pit for even his first pit stop. So,
ooh, he's leaving it very late.
Yes, he's leaving it. So that is a tactic I have seen before. Leaving it till within about 5 minutes to go and then making quick back-to-back pit stops. So it'll be interesting to see the timing of when Crawford does come into the pits. There's Badowski there trying to... in the 45 car, that's Erdmann just behind him there. That's the Lamborghini they've just lapped, which I'm pretty sure is the blue car of Harry Hottie. Heading through Sunset Bend once more up to Clubhouse. Not really an overtaking opportunity, if I may say so.
That may have been a change of position, isn't it?
I don't think so. I think Badowski's actually trying to hold on to third, if anything, from Erdmann.
Oh yeah, sorry, you're right. I saw an edit text. I read the order wrong.
Yeah, no worries. Is very, very close battle indeed. Erdmann taking a slightly wider line through the second part of Learkop, heading down the hill now towards the mine shaft. Really big old compression there. Hard on the brakes for Crocodiles, not quite close enough, although Erdmann is there or thereabouts. So we could be seeing potentially another change for position. Coming fairly soon at this rate. The gap was 0.3 of a second. It's going to depend on who gets the better exit out of the final corner. I'd say it's maybe Badowski slightly. He has pulled, I don't want to say not even half a car's length. The gap has actually increased on that last lap by just 0.02 of a second. Just gives you some idea as to just how close it is between Erdmann and Badowski at the moment. As Crawford Brown is definitely leaving it to the last few minutes of the race to make his first pit stop. Very interesting strategy, and that's one of the things I like about having such a large pit window, is that it does create the option for a lot of strategy, which is nice to see. There's Shipston in the Lexus, currently running in P5 at the moment, but also yet to hit for the final time. Though same also applies to Warden and Mijiewski behind him. So that means could move Ian Mackey in the number 997 Porsche up a couple or few spots, I'd imagine. Just looking at the gaps there and trying to quickly work it out, of course. Sports journalist plus maths equals, well, yeah, slightly questionable results, admittedly. I notice my Right Honourable co-commentator is saying nothing in response to my statement about my ability or otherwise to do maths.
Sometimes it's just best to leave things alone.
Right, I don't think I'm going to be able to come back from that without digging myself into an even deeper hole.
I couldn't possibly say. Meanwhile, Still the battle for third rate is on.
Yeah, absolutely. Badowski. Oh, I've got a little bit of traffic there from the Lamborghini. That's actually, oh, excuse me, sorry, that's Terentovic in the Lamborghini. So unless they've already got past Hottie plus Beg and now trying to get round Terentovic at Learcup, there's Damien Lowe in the Audi. Yeah, good job, he's got 1.5 seconds to hit. Actually, now 1.2 seconds, in fact, between him and Crew. So I reckon Damien might be up for maybe fancying himself for maybe even a cheeky look at going into P17. There's Varga, currently in P9, and also going for the let's leave it as late as possible to come into the pits. The battle's still raging on here between Badowski and Erdmann. Coming down towards Sunset Bend now. Very quick corner, that.
I think Warden has just pitted.
He has indeed. Cheers. Yeah, he's made his final pit stop, and Radek Schuller comes in for his final stop.
It's a lead change, isn't it?
It will be, I think. I'm trying to look at the gap, 24 seconds, so Crawford will have... I don't know, this is going to be it's going to be interesting to see when Crawford pits. Crawford Brown currently in second place in Ferrari car number 3, who should now be showing as in the lead. Gap's jumped from 24 seconds down to 3 seconds. That's because I imagine Schuller was stationary at the time, so we'll maybe get a glimpse at the next timing split as to whether the lead has changed. Maybe when Crawford is coming into the pits, there's Badowski currently showing as being 25 seconds behind. Also 28 seconds, excuse me, so behind this battle here. Meanwhile, Crawford Brown has jumped into the lead of the race with 2.1 seconds separating him from Radek Schuller. Unfortunately, 2.2 and a bit seconds is not going to be long enough for a pit stop. Yeah.
Ooh. Really attacking the curves there.
Yeah, both drivers leaving absolutely nothing on the table whatsoever. It's been a cracking battle to watch, actually, between Erdmann and Badowski, as Erdmann is trying to force Badowski into a mistake on board with Kurt Hodgson, coming out the final corner in the Lexus. Number 69, as Peter Varga comes into the pits, and Hodgson moves up into P11. And Crawford Brown also comes into the pits, which should mean that certainly Radek Schuller should emerge ahead of him. Then Marco Badowski, maybe, and Erdmann as well. So realistically, I think the lowest Crawford Brown can come out of the pits is P4. Gap between Shipston and Erdmann is too great, although Shipston, I should add, does also need to come into the pits as well, and does not have an awful lot of time. And Fury does actually come into the pits now with just over a minute left on the clock. There's Crawford Brown coming out of the pits, right in the middle of this battle between Badowski and Erdmann. Oh, Crawford Brown just about sending it up the inside there.
No, he's gone wide.
And has gone wide on his outlap, which is enough to let Badowski up in second place and Erdmann back into third. So now we've got a three-way battle for second place here. Effectively, accident involving car number 8 showing up on screen, which is Erdmann. I think that's just because there was a tiny little bit of contact between Erdmann and Badowski. Sorry, Erdmann and Brown, excuse me. Yeah, I said it was going to be close. I didn't realise it was going to be quite that close coming out of the pits. Of course, the other benefit which Badowski and Erdmann both have right now is that they're on warm tyres. Comparatively speaking, the tyres are warm, the brakes are warm, the drivers are in a rhythm, whereas Crawford has just had to make 2 pit stops in about, what, 3 laps, I think, from memory. So, yeah.
I'm not sure about that strategy. I really don't understand that one.
It can work, but you can already see where this is going. It can work, but at the same time, you also need to know that you've got enough of a pace advantage over the driver who's pitted earlier, and you have to kind of almost hope they're in a bit of traffic to a degree. So yeah, was definitely a calculated risk. Yeah, Nemcovski there in the McLaren running just a little bit wide coming out of Sunset, battling with Varga and Wood. There's Peter Varga in the Mercedes, which he inevitably designed the livery for himself. Very good livery designer actually as well, as showing Jack Mason is showing as being in the pits right now. Result, there's Marco still in P2 in the Audi R8.
Kind of the Audi, man. It's got the legs on straight. It just keeps ahead ever so slightly.
Yeah, it's... I mean, I would say it depends. It's down. It could be down to the driver, but the thing is that the top drivers are all so almost evenly matched. It's so hard to to differentiate between them, and also you've got the car mixture as well. I mean, granted, the top three's all are all basically mid-engined rear-wheel drive, and then you've got the rear drive Porsche in 5th, and then you've got the first of the front-engine cars in P6 in the Lexus.
Ooh, here comes the McLaren.
Varga, Nemcovski, Varga desperately trying to hold off the McLaren. Heading up towards Sunset Bend once more. Through the long right-hander. Taking another very defensive line, Nemcovski. Thinking about it, Varga has left him room on the inside. Oh, there's contact! They're heading down into the S's now. Oh, there's more contact. And if anything, Varga's come off worse out of that because he's lost not only position to Nemcovski, but also Nigel Wood as well. So, very much a self-penalising incident from Peter Varga, who's got basically 1, maybe 2 more laps to try and claw back some ground. Currently down in P16 now. Nemcovski moving up to 14th, and Nigel Wood going, oh, thanks, I'll have a bit of that. Not very much. Moving up into 15th place. Currently looking at the battle between Erdmann, Badowski and Brown. Little over a second separating these 3 drivers so far, all on completely different strategies as well.
All mid-engine cars as well.
Yeah, all mid-engine cars. Naturally aspirated V10, twin-turbo V6, twin-turbo V8. And only one of those you can actually turn into a full-on GTE spec car if you had a spare 250,000 euros extra. I think it was casually lying around.
Yes.
Although, be interesting to see what happens when we get the new 296 GT3 and the 992 Porsche 911 in game as well, if we do, because there is some very spectacularly good engineering. Zagoras and Hodgson battling there is just...
Oh, still side by side.
still side by side. I thought there might have been a big old collision there as the Lexus holds on. Sparks everywhere. It's hard on the brakes into Crocodiles now. Agoris turns in, but absolutely messes the braking zone up there and goes way too deep into Crocodiles. And surely that is enough for Kurt Hodgson to be able to hold on to 11th place after that. I mean, looking at it from the on-board, there's some absolutely massive heart-in-mouth moments for Kurt Hodgson there. Just almost sees his race flash before his eyes. But Radek Schuller has come across the line to claim victory in round 2 of the RWB International Constructors Championship this evening at Kyalami in South Africa. Still looking at this battle here for second place. It's going to be a drag race to the line. I don't think it's far enough. And it is indeed going to be Badowski, Erdman, Brown for second, third, fourth. Harness crossed the line in 13th, ahead of Nemsovsky, Wood, Varga, Crew, and Lowe. That's 13th down to 18th. Philip Hart, Patrick Nemsovsky, Nigel Wood, Peter Varga, Dave Crew, Damien Lowe. Harry Hotty's in 19th. Seb Terentovic is in 20th. Ian Begg, 21st. Mad Owl, 22nd. And Chris Brook has come across the line in 23rd. Currently riding on board with Ian Mackey right now, trying to hold on to 5th place, which he will in the Porsche. And there's Nathaniel Shirley and Tom Shipston following him home in the Lexus. Do my channel, my beloved and highly esteemed colleague at IMSA Radio, one Mr. Jeremy Shaw.
I still prefer Lexi.
I prefer, yeah, to be fair, Lexi's got fewer syllables, it's easier to say. Eddie Warden's crossed the line as well, as has Mizievsky. Just waiting on Todor Kostadinov to cross the line, which he does. And then Kurt Hodgson and Terry Agoris as well. So you might be wondering what that's done to the standings. Well, if I hit results, we don't have the standings up yet, but heading into the race, it was Audi, Honda, Ferrari, Lexus, McLaren, Lamborghini, Porsche, Mercedes, Bentley, Nissan, BMW and Aston Martin after the opening round, with Badowski leading the driver's standings from Radek Schuller, Sebastian Erdmann, Eddie Warden and Nigel Wood after the chaotic season opener we had at Silverstone. And believe you me, it was the absolute definition of pure and utter chaos. Also, shout out to Seb Terentovic as well, who's designed some lovely new graphics for us on the RWB International website. Looking absolutely splendid. So, coming up on RWB International, we've got the Race Room Mini League on Thursday night, the All Request Friday, as is tradition, on Automobilista 2. And then on Saturday, we've got the next round of the DTM Meisterschaft, which is going to be at the Lausitz Ring. Although I should add, I do get the irony that it says that this is the DTM Meisterschaft, given that when they the ITR, as it was applied to the DMSB for Meisterschaft status back in 2000, the DMSB said 9. So Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters. And then on Sunday, we have something brand new. Oh yes, you heard that right, brand new. We have the Sunday Cup in association with GT Hub on Assetto Corsa. The race being at Barcelona. And all it says is less known cars. And the vehicle is described on the website as a mystery, which bodes well, although there is a what looks like a Formula 3 car and Mangy Court on the poster. So who knows what might be happening there
Cannot possibly tell
with that.
you. Yeah.
I mean, I can't possibly tell you either because I don't actually know.
Yeah, but I do know. Yeah.
Oh, I say. So, thanks to Forza R18 for joining me, Rob Lomas, in the commentary box this evening, and thanks to Nate Newcomer for helping to fix the slight technical gremlins we had this evening, most of which can probably be attributed to the person who is speaking to you right now, and having not actually done any setup work for quite some time. So I do apologise for the slight tech moments at the start of the stream. But that was round 2 of the RWB International Constructors Championship. We'll be back next week with 2 sprint races at Circuit of the Americas. And as always, it's bye for now.